Top 10 classic rock albums that define an era. As the great ball of fire that was the 50s rock and roll explosion blazed across the night sky, it left in its wake a shimmering trail of inspiration, which eventually would crystallize into what we now define as classic rock. For this lineup, we are aiming for the core ethos of the genre: loud, rebellious, and kicking like a mule. That's not all that we're serving up. At Rock and Blues Muse, we value craft, musicianship, and integrity. Every entry on this list displays not only the vibrant, dangerous energy which made the birth of the most important development in popular music so exciting, but also the stamp of highly skilled musicians doing what they do best. Sit back, strap in, and rock out. The 10 albums presented below are landmarks you will want to hear. Before we start the video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, that you will not miss our new video. 1. Are You Experienced-Jimi Hendrix, 1967, the greatest rock guitarist of all time? Some will argue, but it's unimaginable that any best of list could not include Hendrix. It's hard to envision how stunning this decade album must have been upon its release, not least because so much music has since been built upon its foundations. Purple Haze is the defining track. Rough edged like a diamond, this classic among classics opens with that famous riff before expanding into the outer reaches of the galaxy with ever more incendiary and ensemble playing. 2. Let It Bleed, The Rolling Stones, 1969. There are a half dozen Stones albums which could easily make this list. Let It Bleed is as good a contender as any. Purists may point to the absence, for the most part, of guitarist Brian Jones, but the cuts on this album remain stone-cold classics. Jimmy Shelter, a 4.5-minute micro-odyssey of rock by way of funk, soul, and gospel yearning, retains a voodoo-like hold on the heart of the listener. 3. Live at Leeds, The Who, 1971 stage. 4 incredibly talented musicians, each trying his best to outperform the others. Keith Moon's legendary everything, including the kitchen sink approach to drumming, has never sounded better than here. Moon takes an almost abstract approach, playing around, through, under, and over, whirling up a hypnotic storm of percussion. John Entwistle is a bassist. His ultra-melodic, pulsing runs propel the band forward at lightning speed. Roger Daltrey's vocal histrionics match them both pound for pound. Then there's Pete Townshend's guitar, which circles and soars, cries and cuts. 4. Paranoid, Black Sabbath, 1970. Ozzy Osbourne, of course, needs no introduction. The Black Sabbath frontman has lived long enough to pass from proto-metal idol to a shambolic, affectionately mocked reality TV star. Forget all of the latter as you open the metaphorical, iron-bound doors of Paranoid. It is a bombshell of an album. Fuzzed-up blues rock double-baked into a heavy dish of propulsive drumming and railroad bass, stuffed to the gills with an absurd number of now-famous riffs. Osbourne sounds as if he's singing from the other side of the gates to hell. There's nothing sophisticated here, and perhaps that's the very key to the music's power. 5. Ivy, Led Zeppelin, 1971. You can take your pick of the first 6 Led Zeppelin Studios albums. In terms of classic rock, they're all pretty darn perfect. None, though, remains more iconic than their fourth, sometimes known as Four Symbols or simply Ivy. For this release, the band decided to each pick a metaphysical image to represent themselves, which stand in place of a title. You get 8 unmitigated classics here. Stairway to Heaven is the most famous cut, its power perhaps somewhat dampened by overexposure, but check out When the Levee Breaks. John Bonham's pounding, echoing drum intro is understandably one of the most sampled beats in history. The song's production, with stereo effects, subtle phasing, and layers of melody, is decades ahead of its time. 6. Raw Power, Iggy and the Stooges, 1973. Has there ever been an album with a more arrogant or more deserving title than this? Punk attitude before punk existed, the Stooges forsook fancy production in the name of all-out sonic assault. From first to last, Raw Power surrounds you, indeed drowns you in rough-edged, beautiful noise, which is not to say that the band isn't capable of nuance. Listen to the spooky, spaced-out Jimmy Danger. This masterpiece starts out as an acoustic guitar-driven upbeat number before taking a left turn into a fuzzed-up, roaring maelstrom. Shake Appeal is a manic, drooling, wild-eyed ride. 7. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, AC/DC, 1976. You could justifiably substitute this entry for either of Australian rock band AC/DC's other defining albums, Back in Black or Highway to Hell. Those two have been done to death, review-wise, to why not dive into Dirty Deeds, which easily holds its own. A smoldering slab of monolithic rock and roll, sweaty, brash, and indeed Dirty Deeds has more than sheer, rumbling power in its arsenal. Packed full of filthy, witty lyrics, witness Love at First Feel, and propelled by the twin guitars of Malcolm and Angus Young, Dirty Deeds' great redeeming quality, apart from its humor, and first-class musicianship is its honesty. 8. Live and Dangerous. Thin Lizzy, 1978. Before U2, there was Thin Lizzy, Ireland's greatest rock band, fronted by charismatic bassist and singer-songwriter Phil Lynott, who easily makes the top 10 greatest ever rock voices. Thin Lizzy released this monster double live album following a sting of impressive studio efforts. Cherry-picking from their back catalog, the band pump out track after track of excellent, raucous songs full of pathos, swagger, and invention. 9. Born in the USA. Bruce Springsteen, 1984. Toward the tail end of a run of incredibly successful albums, both artistically and commercially, the boss upped his game still further with this enduring set of elegant and vibrant rock. Backed by the ever-reliable E Street Band, this is as refreshing a record as you could ask for. There's something uniquely American about the sound, which is wholly appropriate for the home country of rock. Steel girders, wide highways, hot-roofed road trips, and juvenile love mixed with dirt, grit, and blue jeans make for the essential ingredients of Born in the USA. Springsteen's songwriting prowess is at its height. 10. Separation Sunday, A Hold Steady, 2005. Because every best of list has to include at least one contentious entry, it's the law. Separation Sunday is an album that, to paraphrase Oscar Wilde, drags itself through the gutter whilst gazing up at the stars. Tales of street rats, hoodlums, and self-destructive binges are saved from any accusation of nihilism by the quite beautiful arrangements and the emotive and affecting vocals of Craig Finn. If the characters which Finn brings to life in these songs are desperate, confused, and hurting, it is because, like all of us, they are searching for meaning, light, and love. The best rock music taps into something primal within us. It makes connections which bypass the brain and go straight to the soul. Listen to the brilliant, exhausting, sparkling diamond, which is Cattle and the Creeping Things. And I challenge you to disagree that the Hold Steady have earned their place on this list. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.